Yeah, Bob. You remember Bob, the guy that's gonna launch a nuclear attack? You got any more abuse you want to hurl my way? Or are you ready to go in here and take care of Bob?
What do you propose, Bob?
When in doubt, C4.
All right. Welcome to another riveting episode of Penguin Thoughts. And this is the first one of the new year. I took some time off. I needed to take care of a few things. But we are back, and hopefully going to be doing this on a new day, a new time, on Thursdays. Normally around 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, if I can. May have to do it sooner than that on sometimes. But nevertheless, we are here today, and we got a few things to talk about, so let's get into it, shall we? Okay. First thing is, I want to talk about the new Daredevil series. There's an article that came out earlier this week. Actually, two of them, basically telling about the Daredevil old friends and enemies are apparently coming back for the rebooted Born Again, new Daredevil Born Again Disney Plus show. Now, I am a huge fan of the Daredevil Netflix series that went on for 3 seasons. That was really good. I love the brawler type stuff. Daredevil's not always been my favorite comic book hero, but I've always found it fascinating that a blind guy could fight heroes. So, nevertheless, that did kind of make me like the series, mainly because he was a brawler. And Charlie Cox has already come back into the MCU under the Disney Plus show. He showed up like in She-Hulk, and also in the latest series that just released earlier this month, Echo. Almost forgot the name of it. That's how forgettable that show is. But nevertheless, some things we've seen. Originally, when he showed up in She-Hulk, he had a red and yellow outfit, which really indicated that he was going to go down a wrong direction here with the series. With his cameo showing up, Charlie Cox reprising his role of Daredevil, showing up in the Echo series in his full red suit from the Netflix series, kind of gives me an indication that maybe they're rethinking the way they're going to do things. But as always, with most stuff when it comes to Disney especially, and Marvel and the MCU, you always have to take it with a grain of salt. You have to hope for the best, but expect the worst. More than likely, it probably still won't be all that great, but here's hoping. At least one of the things that they are doing that I am glad about is that they are bringing back, they originally were not going to bring back a couple of people in the series, Karen Page and Foggy Nelson, who are, especially Foggy, is instrumental in the comics. I mean, this is kind of like the person you get to see into Daredevil's life through the eyes of Foggy. It's the way it is in the comics. It's the way it is in the Netflix series. And I hope they continue to do that in the Daredevil Born Again series. It's going to be coming out on Disney Plus. Right here it says in this article, this is up on AV Club. I'm going to read a little bit of that, and I'm going to read a little bit more over on the Forbes article that I've got. Disney and Marvel Studios' decision to bring back Charlie Cox, Daredevil, for a new series called Daredevil Born Again has been a real roller coaster for fans of the Netflix Daredevil series. Yes, it has. They've already brought back Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, which he's slightly different than he was in the Netflix series. Matter of fact, rumor has it, take it with a grain of salt, that since Kang is going to be no more because of Jonathan Majors and all the legal stuff he's dealing with, that there is rumor out there that they're going to try to make Kingpin the next Thanos level big bad of the MCU. At this point, I'm empathetic. I don't know if I really care, but I would like to see this series, Daredevil Born Again, actually turn into something halfway decent. At least I'd hope. And maybe by them acknowledging that they're going to bring back certain people from the Netflix series means that they have decided to change the way they're going to do things. It was exciting to hear about the show and that Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin would also be returning. Plus the news that John Bernthal, who played the Punisher, has been reported. They originally reported that Deborah Ann Woll and Eldon Henson, who played Karen Page and Foggy Nelson, would not be returning. They just killed them off in an off-screen thing. But what this is indicating is that they are now coming back to the series. Right down here it says Deborah Ann Woll and Eldon Henson apparently will be coming back for the Born Again series. And also they're going to bring back the guy that played Bullseye, Benjamin Poindexter. So needless to say, it's kind of showing, hopefully, a shift, that this whole project was paused because of a full creative overhaul. They decided to rewrite things, and I'm hoping that means they're reshooting things. And also, who knows, with the writer's strike that happened the second half of last year, things are going to be pushed off. So we may not even see this series until 2025 or 2026 even. Who knows? So switching over here to the Forbes article, Daredevil Born Again has another key cast member returning. And this is actually the way he looked in the Netflix series, and also it's the way he looked in the cameo in Echo, which, let me show you that cameo real quick here. Right here on the Disney Plus Echo series in episode 1, Daredevil shows up, and there's Echo. There he is right there. Charlie Cox in the red suit. He's not in the red and yellow suit, which, to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad, because I didn't like the red and yellow look that he had when he was in She-Hulk. It just didn't sit well with me. I'm glad they're returning back to form. Of course, for me, though, I'll be honest with you, I always liked him looking like the Daredevil in season 1 of the Netflix series. We didn't really have his outfit. He was dressed up in black with a black hood and everything. I like that look even better. And he had ropes around his arms, these thick ropes that he used to kind of beat up on the bad guys with. It was just really cool. Matter of fact, my favorite part of that whole series has got to be that hallway scene. I mean, it's just onslaught of bad guy coming after him, and he's just slowly, one by one, taking them down. And he's a brawler. He's a street level hero. Daredevil is. So anyway, get back to the Forbes article here. I don't really want to start talking about Echo. I still plan on trying to release maybe a video reviewing Echo and so forth, but I don't really want to get into that right now because there's some problems I had with his cameo even. Anyway, the article says in Forbes here, now that Disney has taken far too long to realize that Daredevil Born Again should be just Daredevil Season 4, directly continuing the Netflix show, that has resulted in huge chunks of the main cast coming back, which I'm glad to hear. While they started with Wilson Fisk and Matt Murdock only, we now have reports that Foggy Nelson and Carrie Page will return after his scrap script originally that killed him off screen. Because originally, when he was going to be the red and yellow Daredevil, and the first original script was they killed off Foggy Nelson and Karen Page. They were no longer in the series. And the Punisher wasn't there. None of the people in there except for Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk were going to be from the Netflix series. And now they're reporting that things have changed and the new upcoming Daredevil Born Again series is changing. And that's according to sources confirmed at Deadline. The thing is that here it'll only be 3 episodes. I don't know if there's going to be more than that. But 3 episodes means he's not getting a full arc like he did in season 3. There is Wilson Fisk talking to Bullseye. And that's from season 3 of the Netflix series. So Bullseye will be returning. Punisher will be returning. The only one they didn't really mention whether or not they'd be returning is Elodie Young, Elektra. I don't know if she would be or not. I don't really see unless they decide to go that direction in the story, I don't see the need for having her in this new Daredevil series on Disney Plus. Originally it was going to be 13 episodes, but I think they looked like they whittled it down to like 3. Nevertheless, it should be interesting to see how they go that direction with it, and I hope that they don't do what I think they're going to do. That they're just going to destroy it and make it uber woke and concentrate on somebody else being the main figure, like Karen Page, instead of actually Matt Murdock, because it's a Daredevil show, not... I don't have much hope. As always, with Disney, you expect the worst, hope for the best. Anyway, I just thought I'd point that out, that I saw this article and I thought that was kind of interesting, that they have brought back more of the cast, which does show that they're at least thinking about a different direction than what they were originally going. So hopefully that will turn out to be good. And as we switch discussions here from Marvel to Star Wars. Yay! One of my favorite topics to talk about it lately. Not. Anyway, Star Wars is, in my opinion, it's still dead. Disney Star Wars is dead. It died after Revenge of the Sith. But nevertheless, there is a lot of buzz here lately of a new director coming out. Charmin Obaid Chinoy, I hope I'm saying her name correctly, is supposed to be directing a new Daisy Ridley Ray movie. It's supposed to be coming out. Actually, there may be two of them. I don't know. And basically what it is Ray is supposed to be coming back. It's supposed to be kind of like called Star Wars A New Order or something like that. New Jedi Order, I think, is the working title. Or she's supposed to come back and rebuild the Jedi Order, which... newsflash, that was Luke that did that in the original stuff from Lucas. But as always, it's Disney's way of taking a predominantly loved franchise and destroying it once again with identity politics and making it female, putting and I have nothing wrong with Daisy Ridley as an actress. I've liked her. She's not bad. I think she's got like most people in Disney Star Wars' sequel trilogy, has gotten the bad end of the stick, like Finn did. Same way with Adam Driver's character, which good on Adam Driver. A while back, he said he ain't returning back to Star Wars. Good for him. I think he saw that it wasn't good for his career. Nevertheless, there is some kind of controversy going on with this new director. She is an activist. She's actually not done any type of directing per se, other than like maybe some documentaries, I think. But they're activist documentaries, and she's even gone on saying that it's about time that Star Wars has female representation in it. And I'm going, what? Are they like crazy? If they're not even paying attention to what they're even doing themselves. I guess one of the reasons why Daisy Ridley did decide to come back to Star Wars, she said that sometimes I think about dying, and her worthwhile return to Star Wars, the idea is cool. As well, she used the cuss word. Nevertheless, she likes the idea, apparently. Daisy Ridley spent her 20s on film sets fighting Sith as Rey in the Star Wars trilogy we know about. I did like her in The Murder on the Orient Express. That was a Poirot, Agatha Christie's Poirot type thing, starring Kenneth Branagh. I like him. He's the guy with the big giant mustache. So the actor, like I said, I do like her in some things. I don't like the way she's been written in Star Wars, that she's the bestest ever, and now she's going to be recreating the Jedi Order. I'm not really into that. But the way I look at it is, like most YouTubers out there, like what Jay at Junk 3PO said the other day, I just hope they go full tilt with all this, so they bring the end sooner and quicker. Just trash it as much as you possibly can, so that it won't even be worthwhile even seeing by even the normies out there. Just absolutely demolish it. You might as well. You already been burning Star Wars down to the ground as it is. Good old Potato Kennedy and her stupid legacy that the Force is female. Don't get me. Anyway, I don't want to rant about that. Let's get back into the article here. Ridley spoke to Variety about her first time as a producer on Sometimes I Think About Dying. That's I guess a movie or a show that she was in. I don't know much about it. Where's the part I wanted to reach? Okay. Right here it says, you're reprising your role as Rey in the new Star Wars movie directed by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, which last I checked, she is still producing it and directing it. I mean, although I think Mike Zero has got some clickbait videos out there on YouTube about the rumor that she got fired. I don't think that's happening. I think Disney is leaning into the activism stuff even more. They are so woke that they're not even able to see what it is that they're doing to all these franchises. And I don't think they care. It's just amazing to me that they can burn this much money. It's just, they must have an endless supply. Anyway, the Variety article right here says, how would a franchise first female filmmaker impact the series? Really? Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy was the first female filmmaker? No. She's not even technically a filmmaker. The short answer is, I don't know. I'm excited to do the job. This is Ridley responding to the Variety interviewer here. But not because Sharmeen is a woman. Her documentaries are amazing. Gee, that sounds like a hit piece, doesn't it? Because her documentaries are activist documentaries. Her idea for the story is cool. No spoilers, but she gave me a rundown of the entire story. If it weren't amazing, I would have been like, okay, call me in 5 years. But it's worthwhile that, and she's getting a nice, healthy paycheck. Rumors are out there that she's going to be making like $12.5 million off those two movies that are going to reprise her role as Rey in. I don't know. I could really care less. But this has caused one of my favorite YouTubers, Star Wars Theory, in my opinion, the YouTube Star Wars YouTuber out there, to kind of like talk about some of this stuff, of course, because that's what he does. He's Star Wars Theory. And he even has multiple YouTube channels out there, one of them called Theory Talks. I subscribe to a couple of them because I like watching his stuff, especially about his theories when he gets into the deep lore about things and talks about what if, this happened or what if that happened. Nevertheless, he also decided to have this lady on one of his podcasts called Theory Talks. And she is a psychologist. She does not know anything about Star Wars. She even says that. So some of the comments she makes here when he asks her the last question of this interview, it's all I'm going to watch of it. And once again, links to all this are down in my description on my video, so you can find his channel and so forth in this full length video. If you want to go watch it yourself, you can. More than welcome to. For me, I was interested in this last little bit because he asked a question about Star Wars. That was the main thing that I was interested in seeing. Anyway, she makes some comments that like it's Star Wars is normally a boy franchise and that women don't really watch Star Wars. And I know there are some women out there that do watch Star Wars. And Star Wars Theory is being attacked now, claiming by the cancel pigs out there that he is a misogynist pig and so forth. And he never said that Star Wars is for guys only. Matter of fact, let's just watch it and I'll comment later on it.
Experiences with your partner when you come home.
I see. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the final question I have, and it's going to be a Star Wars question. So.
Okay, go ahead. I've never seen Star Wars in my life. But,
no, it relates to what we're so.
Yeah, notice right there, she says she's never seen Star Wars in her life. So she doesn't know anything about Star Wars. But she's being asked about this because she is a psychologist, actually a child psychologist, that he had on about discussing like relationships and things like that. Some of the things he talks about, Theory Talks. I don't really watch that kind of stuff, but when he starts talking about Star Wars and stuff, that's the stuff I'm interested in watching because I do like his theories. Anyway,
So once Disney took over Star Wars, they started to change the whole infrastructure around and really, kind of dog the men and focus on the women a lot, in the sense where there wasn't much training and this and that. There's a new director for one of the Star Wars movies, and she says it's about time that a woman come in and shape the Star Wars movie.
Yeah, that's that lady I was talking about, the Shamara, what's her name again? Charmin Obaid Chinoy. Well, that's a mouthful, especially for us penguins. I have enough trouble saying Bob, let alone something like that. Anyway. Matter of fact, that one other thing, there's like a video apparently it's going around as well. I didn't look it up. That she also talks about that, talking about Shinoy here, that she likes making men cringe. That is her favorite pastime or something to that effect. Oh, please, whatever. Anyway, let's get to Star Wars series question of the psychologist here.
Movies and Galaxy, and it's causing a huge uproar on the internet. So many people.
Let's back it up here.
Movies. There wasn't much training and this and that. There's men and focus on the women a lot, in the sense where there wasn't much training and this and that, and shape the Star Wars movies and Galaxy. And it's causing a huge uproar on the internet. So many people are saying this is ridiculous. We've had women in Star Wars Galaxy before. And
yeah, exactly. Hello? Carrie Fisher come to mind? Leia? Hey, parent. Yeah, she is a looker, but she's not an actress. She's a psychologist. So, it's one of those things. And her name's Sadia Khan. Anyway.
Other people are saying, well, people's egos that are having a problem with this are very fragile and their masculinity is fragile. Yeah. What's your overall consensus when a female director wants to come in and reshape something and say, plant that flag that, hey, I'm a woman and, hear me roar. Here is my way of making this sort of franchise, which is already established, now something that's feminine dominant or female dominant, whatever it might be, instead of just a good story.
Yeah, I think what happens particularly in Western cultures where women have it so easy, but they pretend they're not. What happens with women who generally have it quite easy, they enjoy victimhood because that's the only way that they can feel part of other people's struggle. What makes human beings feel alive is when they're a bit struggling, when they're going through something, where they've gone through a bit of trauma, they've gone through something, it makes them feel alive. What's happened with women in the Western world particularly is because there is no real oppression, but they want to be a victim so bad because victimhood is just a way of kind of shortcutting sympathy. Everyone it's just shortcut entitlement. You get what you want without having to earn it because you just happen to be a victim. So what happens is they want to start finding places where they can be a victim and then transform it so that they can become a hero. So what they'll do is say, oh, we need more women in this particular sport. Nobody watches them. Nobody wants women in there, but they'll just stamp their authority so they can be a local hero. Then we need more women in Star Wars. No, we don't. Women don't even watch Star Wars, but they don't even care about it. It's a man's little thing. Let them have it. But they want to.
Now, notice there he kind of laughs. He doesn't say anything. And he knows that some women do watch Star Wars. Obviously, she's never watched Star Wars, so that's what she thinks about Star Wars. But she's also coming from a psychological standpoint here.
To be like, oh, there's such a deprivation, we got to be in it so they can be a mini hero. When you don't have anything outside of your gender as a way of being proud of yourself, you use your gender as a shortcut for entitlement and heroic stances. So I would just say, unfortunately, it is the norm in Western cultures to kind of over-identify with your gender and then over-identify with victimhood. It's a way of getting a shortcut to being a hero. And as a result, it's just there to design. And also what it does is keeps the power in the hands of the women. And whenever you redirect power entirely to women, just like if it was entirely to men, it creates an unhealthy society. If the power is totally in men's hands, it would be unhealthy. If it's totally in women's hands, it's also unhealthy. But what we're doing is, I remember like in an environment, I did a talk and it was a...
No, I agree there, parent. What I know is predominantly, even Bob Iger said this in his book, Star Wars is predominantly a boy brand. I mean, think about it. They didn't make dolls. They made action figures. But since Disney's taken it over with Potato Kennedy's little agenda, she wanted to make it a girls' brand. Disney has predominantly been a girls' brand. Think about it. When you think of Disney, at least you used to think of, before the wokeness, you used to think of Disney's princesses, and all the frilly stuff and butterflies and so forth, which is not necessarily bad, but it's not a boys' thing. If boys want to play with lightsabers and guns and things like that. And not saying that girls can't get into Star Wars. Of course they can. It's primarily always been a boys' brand more than it has been a girls' brand. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean there, but anyway. So the thing here is, she's kind of like pointing out the thing of why. Let's back it up here. Some of the things she was saying. She's pointing out what like Western culture is like this, because it's not like this in the rest of the world. It's only over here. Because in the rest of the world, men and women both have hard ways of living. So there's not really a need for feeling like you need to be a victim. And the victim thing that has popped up over the last several years with this wokeness stuff, it's because there is no real oppression here. So it's kind of fake oppression. They're just, this is how they consider their worth. Yeah, I'm not talking about anything else but Star Wars, Baron. I'm a penguin. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a relationship counselor. I'm just a penguin that is a geek that likes to talk about geeky stuff. So that's what we're talking about here. Anyway, so let's go back here to...
kind of dog the men and focus on the women a lot, in the sense where there wasn't
go back
much
to the
training
original
and
question.
There's
and
a
then
new
hear her
director
response.
for one of the Star Wars movies, and she says it's about time that a woman come in and shape the Star Wars movies and galaxy, and it's causing a huge uproar on the internet. So many.
One thing I want to point out about that too is there's also been women that shaped the Star Wars galaxy that weren't actually in the movies themselves, like Marcia Lucas, the ex-wife of George Lucas. She was very instrumental, and especially in episode 4, 5, and 6 in helping out George and the direction that he was taking Star Wars. I mean, hello?
Many people are saying this is ridiculous. We've had women in Star Wars Galaxy before, and other people are saying, well, people's egos that are having a problem with this are very fragile, and their masculinity is fragile. Yeah. What's your overall consensus when a female director wants to come in and reshape something and say, it's plant that flag that, hey, I'm a woman, and hear me roar. Here is my way of making this sort of franchise, which is already established, now something that's feminine dominant or female dominant, whatever it might be, instead of just a good story.
Yeah, I think what happens particularly in Western cultures, where women have it so easy, but they pretend they're not.
Yeah, notice she said in Western cultures where women do have it so easy, but they pretend they don't. Because even as bad as it is at times in this country, we've still got it better here than in other places in the world. Especially when other countries out there consider women to be third-class citizens, that they don't have the right to even vote or drive or speak, or they're supposed to be seen and not heard type of thing. So this is the other end of the spectrum that's happening in our culture today, that's happening in, obviously, Star Wars. And it's a way for them to build up their worth, I guess, I'm guessing all these people either A, are just buying in and taking the red pill of wokeness and political identity, and identity politics, that is, or they really have extremely low self-esteem. And this is the only way they feel like that they can have their worth.
What happens with women who generally have it quite easy, they enjoy victimhood because that's the only way that they can feel part of other people's struggle. What makes human beings feel alive is when they're a bit struggling, when they're going through something, where they've gone through a bit of trauma, they've gone through something, it makes them feel alive. What's happened with women in the Western world particularly is because there is no real oppression, but they want to be a victim so bad because victimhood is just a way of kind of shortcutting sympathy. Everyone it's just shortcut entitlement. You get what you want without having to earn it because you just happen to be a victim. So what happens is they want to start finding places where they can be a victim and then transform it so that they can become a hero. So what they'll do is say, oh, we need more women in this particular sport. Yeah. Nobody watches them. Nobody wants women in there, but they'll just stamp their authority so they can be a local hero. Then we need more women in Star Wars. No, we don't. No one. Women don't even.
Well, good old Potato Kennedy has been pushing this since day one, ever since Disney took over Star Wars. She wants the Force to be female. She has made that clear, and she is not hidden her agenda that way. She has definitely made that 100% what they want. And I used to like Dave Filoni, to be honest with you. I liked it when he did the Clone Wars. But what I'm seeing now is he's just towing the same line. He may be creatively in charge of Star Wars now, but it's still Potato Kennedy's baby. She's still running the show. She's still the puppet master. And I don't like it.
Watch Star Wars, but they don't even care about it. It's a man's little thing. Let them have it. But they want to be like, oh, there's such a deprivation. We got to be in it so they can be a mini hero. When you don't have anything outside of your gender as a way of being proud of yourself, you use your gender as a shortcut for entitlement and heroic stances. So I would just say, unfortunately, it is the norm in Western cultures to kind of over-identify with your gender and then over-identify with victimhood. It's a way of getting a shortcut to being a hero, and as a result it's just there to design. And also what it does is keeps the power in the hands of the women, and whenever you redirect power entirely to women, just like if it was entirely to men, it creates an unhealthy
yes, there must be balance to the Force. I don't know when I first saw this, that's the thing that came to my mind was, it can't be leaning all men or leaning all women. It needs to have a balance, just as like anything. When anything's out of balance, that's the term. It's out of balance. Think about it. If you're walking down the street, in my case, waddling down the street, and I got an intersection, I'm out of balance because I may just tip over. And that's not like cow tipping. That's not the same thing we're talking about here. We're talking about, that it goes with anything. There needs to be moderation. There needs to be a balance. Matter of fact, to be honest with you, I've always kind of thought Leia was kind of an extremely good Star Wars character in her own right. I mean, hello, she kicked butt in Return of the Jedi, in my opinion. First off, she killed Jabba. Second off, she really helped out when it came to the Ewoks. And I know a lot of people don't like the Ewoks, but nevertheless, I kind of like the speeder bikes and the AT-STs and things like that. But nevertheless, it just goes to show that one could be the other. And like I would have been reading with the Timothy Zahn series, The Heir of the Empire. Mara Jade, who is going to be Luke Skywalker's love interest, she is extremely cool, and she's also downright. You get this sense from his writing and in the books that you don't want to mess with Mara Jade. She will mess you up. Anyway, so I mean, I agree with what she's saying here.
society. If the power is totally in men's hands, it would be unhealthy. If it's totally in women's hands, it's also unhealthy.
Exactly.
But what we're
It
doing
needs to be about
is,
balance.
I remember, like in an environment, I did a talk, and it was a mainly Gen Z, a very young generation. I couldn't believe how feminine the men were. Everybody looked androgynous. I couldn't believe, and I just you would just take the normal 18-year-old boy, would have been considered as a really feminine man years and years ago. They would have seen him as like super feminine, or they would have just assumed he's homosexual. In this day and age, that's just how the men are come. So they've lost the masculinity. Yeah, and so what's happening is the culture is creating the very men women will not desire in the future. By doing this, you're going to create a bunch of men that you will no longer be sexually attracted to, and as a result, you'll be more miserable in the long run.
Well, Sadia, thank you for your time. Where
Thank
can
you.
everyone find you? On the Instagram, I guess, hopefully.
I know I got hacked on my Instagram, unfortunately, but in TikTok and YouTube, it's at Sadia Psychology. I also offer one-to-ones, and I have a Patreon which contains all my exclusive content where I go into more detail, and you can message me anytime on that as well. So I stay interactive. So my Patreon and one-to-ones are always available.
I'm going to put all those links in the description, and everyone can find them. And I look forward to talking to you again in our
And the
session.
description of
so
this
much for your
video is
time.
in my
Okay, take care.
description
Bye.
as well. So you can find it. I played this because since Theory did that and having Sadia Khan on his stream and talking about this, he's gotten some backlash right here. As Rolling Stone came out with an article. His guest said women don't like Star Wars. He agreed and sparked an internet debate. That's not exactly what he said. As a matter of fact, we're going to watch he made a video responding to this article. We'll watch that here in a minute, but I want to read the article here. Popular streamer Star Wars Theory has brought back a familiar, if unwelcome, internet discourse. Nia D, that's who he is. That's the guy behind Star Wars Theory, a channel dedicated to George Lucas' science fiction universe with over 3.3 million subscribers on YouTube alone. Most of his content revolves around dissecting Star Wars internet theories. That's kind of why I watch him, because I like watching his fan-made stuff as well as his theories. He really comes up with some good, deep lore stuff. If you're someone that's really into Star Wars and really getting into the nitty-gritty and the little minutia and everything of stuff that's not seen in the movies, but maybe like motives behind things or theories of what this happened, you need to check out Star Wars Theory. I don't think he's ever debated casting choices, though. Not that I've ever seen. He does discuss new things coming out and so forth. Anyway, during a January episode on Theory Talks, his channel focused on a critical theory. He hosted psychologist Sadia Khan, who derided Hollywood directors for centering female stories within male-dominated fandoms. Do we need more women in Star Wars? No, we don't, Khan said. And women don't even watch Star Wars. They don't even care about it. It's a man's little thing. Let them have it. Now, he didn't actually come out and say this. She said that, but then again, she also prefaced this thing with, she's never seen Star Wars. So this is what she thinks from a psychology standpoint of what actually is going on with Star Wars. And a lot of this is stemmed from the fact that lately that, like I said, this new director, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, has come out. She's an activist. She's really promoting this new Rey movie. Actually, two of them, but she's doing one of them and directing one of them, and really pushing the narrative of it's going to be female run, it's female awesome, and men don't need to see it type of thing, which I always wonder if that means penguins too. But nevertheless, I'm a male penguin, but I'm not a man, I'm a penguin. I don't understand all you humans. You guys are crazy out there. Anyway. I'm not going to read the rest of this article. You can go read it for yourself if you want to. I am going to watch a 12-minute video of Star Wars. This is up on his regular channel. Why is that not? Oh, I know that's why, because it's on my different account. Okay. I wondered why it wasn't showing that I was subscribed to it, and I know why. I created another channel. Let's a gaming channel, which I haven't streamed on yet, but I'm going to do that pretty soon. Called Whataboutbob's LAN Party. Anyway, this is because I'd say this is my main account, and I have showed I'm subscribed to Star Wars Theory. Okay, so this is his response to the Rolling Stone article. Star Wars Theory's response to it. Let's just watch it and then we'll talk about it. As always, I don't want to skip ahead. If he is giving out promotions and things like that of his merch, like TheorySabers.com, which I haven't checked that out, but I may sometime. I always let that stuff play because might as well, hey, let them grift.
If you can find a clip of me saying that women don't belong in Star Wars, or women shouldn't be in Star Wars, or Star Wars isn't for women, I will send you $10,000.
We would be honored.
Yeah, you won't find him. You won't find a video of him saying that. That's why he could say $10,000, because you won't find one. Because he likes Leia, for one. I've watched some of his videos in years past that even have theories about Luke and Leia and even Padme and things.
Hey guys, what's up? How you doing? I was just about to make a video. I'm out in LA right now. I leave to Miami tomorrow and then Orlando MegaCon a little bit after that. And I was about to make a video and I came across this. Some people sent me, so I figured, yeah, let's talk about it. Rolling Stones called me out, said some pretty untrue things about me, and I'd love to give my take. So this is in regards to when I spoke to Sadia Khan, who is a relationship expert and psychologist, primarily a children's psychologist, on my channel Theory Talks, where I have guests on there and we do live.
That's the little excerpt we just got through watching, to where she was talking about Star Wars primarily being a boys' brand and so forth.
Streams every night and we talk about relationships, talk about psychology. I'm a big fan of psychology, and I think it's really important to do your work as a person in general. Mental health is a really important thing. So
yeah, I would agree with that.
And I'm recording the screen for you because I don't have my setup like I do at home. His guest said women don't like Star Wars. He agreed. I never did. I laughed. And sparked an internet debate. Popular streamer Star Wars Theory has brought back familiar if unwelcome internet discourse. All right. First of all, why can't you guys just tag me? And why can't you say his guest instead of saying that? Just say Sadia Khan, She's quite a large name, and she has some really amazing takes. Nia D is the streamer behind Star Wars Theory, a channel dedicated to the George Lucas science fiction universe, with over 3.3 million subscribers on YouTube alone. Most of his content revolves around dissecting Star Wars internet theories, debating casting choice.
Yeah, I think why he went there was it's not necessarily internet theories, it's his theories that he comes up with. For Star Wars, when he dives into the lore.
This is, I don't know about that. And discussing new announcements and releases. Actually, no, it's more about fan fictions and comics and discussing Star Wars in general and the lore behind it. But clearly they haven't done their homework on my channel. During a...
Exactly. That's actually why I like his channel, because the main thing he focuses on, Star Wars lore. And I am all into that, buddy. Oh, yeah.
January episode on Theory Talks, his channel focused on critical theory. He hosted psychologist Sadia Khan, who derided Hollywood directors for centering female stories within male-dominated fandoms. Do we need more women in Star Wars? No, we don't, Khan said. And women don't even watch Star Wars. They don't even care about it. It's a man's little thing. Let them have it. Oh, I love the fact that they completely left out, and this is a typical thing with what I've realized. First of all, I like to make Star Wars videos. I never like to make stuff like this because this is just so stupid. It's just so beneath me. I don't like to talk about stuff that isn't Star Wars. This is drama shit. But sometimes I feel it's, best to actually, you hear it from me, then you hear it from the internet. Because sometimes the internet can be pretty loud, but when you actually focus and you listen to the person they're talking about, you'll know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, and the internet is famous for taking things out of context. If they'd really known about who Star Wars Theory is or really watched his content, I don't think this article would have been turned out the way it did from Rolling Stone. But then again, they don't really care because they just want to create their little narrative and their little hit piece. And that's why, once again, mainstream media is always pushing some type of false narrative, be it about politics or about YouTubers or about anything that's out there. You can't trust it anymore. You just can't.
This was at the end of the interview. It was in regards to me saying, what do you think about Charmin Obaid-Chinoy's remarks about it's time a woman shaped Star Wars? And she had a very eloquent answer about it, and that was her take. And when she said women don't even like Star Wars, I didn't say yes, yes, yes. I laughed like, oh man, we're about to get canceled, because she was speaking and I spoke to her about it. She's like, I don't even understand what I did. I'm like, yeah, well, that's just the internet for you. That's Star Wars fans in general. I started getting tags from people being like, from women saying like, who said women don't belong in Star Wars? And it's like, when did anybody ever say that? Like,
I've never said it.
It's so weird how people can just twist stuff, completely try to.
I'll even go further than this. I don't think some of the stories in Star Wars work without some of the women in it. Like with Leia, definitely. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's just like with anything. You can't have it just one way or the other. Hello.
Brand you
Balance.
as something that you're not. And it's not really disheartening. It's just weird. I don't really get it.
Balance there must be in the Force.
Man. This isn't the first time Star Wars fandom has dealt with disagreements surrounding racism and sexism within their own ranks. Following the premiere of the most recent Star Wars films, helmed by actress Daisy Ridley, thousands of fans accused Disney of going woke by having a female lead. They didn't do that with Ahsoka. Why is that? While Nia didn't acknowledge the statement during his conversation with Khan, but then in the Twitter header they say that I agreed with her. So you guys better change that. Much of the online criticism has centered around his strong and sometimes negative opinions surrounding women characters in the science fiction series and fan spaces. Mostly his accusations that Disney executives have been creating and centering female characters as part of an agenda. I don't remember ever having a problem with female characters. I've always had a problem with characters that they can't write.
Exactly.
So I don't care what gender they are. It could be a...
See, in my mind, with the sequel trilogy, I don't have a problem with that they created Rey Skywalker. It's how they did it. That she's the bestest ever, that she doesn't have a hero's journey. She has a hero's journey, which is a straight line and not a circle. It's bad storytelling. It's pushing an agenda. It's not anything that, in my mind, makes sense as a Star Wars movie or show or whatever. Disney just hasn't got a clue. I think what it boils down to, they don't care. All they really care about, like I said, has always been to push their agenda. I'm perfectly okay with Rey Skywalker existing. I just wish they would have wrote her character a little bit differently. Had a story arc. I want to see her have some trouble getting to where she was, not just all of a sudden stumble across a knife in the sand and magically she knows what to do. That's just silly. That's a plot contrivance to push the agenda and the narrative that they're pushing instead of the story.
Male or female. Finn was a character. He could add so much potential. He's a guy.
Exactly.
So that's incorrect right there. On TikTok, women began posting clips of themselves enjoying or participating in Star Wars culture, with women in Star Wars pushing back against Khan's claims. Videos using the hashtag have over 4.1 million views. After watching Star Wars Theory's video, Olivia, a 16-year-old from New York, used audio of the interview to make a TikTok edit showing all the women both in Star Wars and who have enjoyed the series. The video has 2.8 million views and 1,000 additional videos from other TikTok creators using the audio to push back against Khan's claims. Yeah, Khan lives in the Middle East. In her world, I mean, she's never even seen Star Wars, and if you listen to the interview, she actually says that. So in her world, where it's about, psychology, no one talks about Star Wars, right? And so she didn't even realize that women like Star Wars. Olivia tells Rolling Stone she created the now popular clip to remind people how important women are to the Star Wars fandom. Yeah, no one said that women aren't important in Star Wars.
Exactly.
If anything, it almost seems like men aren't important anymore in Star Wars. I mean, look at Luke, look at Han, look at what they did with Finn. If you really want to
Yeah, see, I 100% agree with what he just said there. if anything, the narrative they're pushing from Disney Star Wars is the men are no longer important, which is kind of like a double standard because you're saying that they're calling us islamphobes and stuff, and saying that in this case they're calling Star Wars theory misogynist because they're claiming that he doesn't like women in Star Wars, which is far from the truth of the matter. It seems like those that want to yell the loudest have the most to hide, I guess. But it's really apparent if you see this stuff. They're pushing their narrative at the same time doing the very thing that they say that we're doing. They are making men less important in Star Wars, which in my opinion should be like what Sadia said. It should be balanced. It should be both. Why can't it just be about a good story instead of pushing some stupid gender ideology or wokeness or political ideology? I don't know. It's just, that's why I feel like I'm so apathetic anymore, especially towards Star Wars and all these IPs that are out there. They're just dead. They died a long time ago, and they're just kicking the corpse around.
Discuss in detail about that. I mean, I've done that plenty of times on my channel, but I really don't think anybody. In fact, I would love for you to provide context. How about this? If you can find a clip of me saying that women don't belong in Star Wars, or women shouldn't be in Star Wars, or Star Wars isn't for women, I will send you $10,000. You have to provide a link. It can't be like some AI, whatever. Provide a link of the original stream or the video where I say women don't belong in Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'll give you 10 grand. First person to do it. I was surprised at the huge response and how so many people, including female and male Star Wars fans, came together by making their own videos using my sound. Star Wars was created for everyone. Star Wars Theory pushing the narrative that women aren't fans of Star Wars on his platform by having a psychologist on there saying it's for boys. Wow, so shocked. Who knew he was a piece of shit? Oh, me, I did, and most other sane fans of Star Wars that I knew. Okay. Right, so I can't ask a question about the horrible remarks that Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy made in regards to it's time a woman shaped Star Wars. I mean, that's a disgusting what if you do realize if a man were to say that, it would be absolutely game over, right? Like that guy would be fired, anyone who agrees with it. So what is this? I mean, this cancel culture shit it's really double standard. It just doesn't make sense to me, you know? If it was something I said, yeah, by all means, I'll take responsibility. Congratulations to Star Wars Theory and his friends. My friends? What friends? For helping to galvanize the Star Wars female fandom. Women have always made Star Wars, women have always loved Star Wars, and women will... My mom was one of the people who introduced Star Wars. What the f*** are you talking about, dude?
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, it was when I was growing up as a little gosling, it was a major family event. And normally my mom was the one that had the forethought to say, okay, my brother's coming in from out west. This is the day he's going to be here, and we are going to go the following day to see the new Star Wars movie, which, by the way, that happened when Empire Strikes Back came out. My mom made us all go to see Star Wars. For her, it wasn't so much about Star Wars. She liked Star Wars, but she wasn't a big nut like I am about it. For her, it's about the family getting together and doing something, going to the theater and spending time together. And we made every Star Wars movie that came out a family event that both my brothers and my mom, and my dad, and even my kids and so forth, we all went and saw Star Wars when a new movie came out. It was a family thing. And a lot of that was spearheaded by my mother. So, I mean, I agree with what he's saying here. I just don't understand where these cancel pigs are coming from. I really don't understand their mindset. Of course, then again, I'm a penguin. I don't necessarily understand pigs, other than I know that they make good ham sandwiches and bacon. And they don't fly either like I do.
Dude, like, why are you such an ass, sir? Women have always loved Star Wars, and women will always be a crucially massive part of our community. Nobody said they're not. Sadia Khan literally said that women don't even like Star Wars, so she made a mistake. And I talked to her about it on the phone. She's like, oh, yeah, I guess I made a mistake. In my world, nobody watches Star Wars. And I was like, yeah, no, a lot do. What's the big deal? Like, really? It's one person who made a mistake and didn't realize that a lot of women like Star Wars. And because of that, I'm a misogynist? Because I asked someone what they thought about Charmin saying women should shape Star... Like, what? The more you try to push the false narrative that women are nothing more than opportunists, the more they will absolutely dunk on you and continue to show everyone how much of a clown you are. Man, you really are... Honestly, you must be an idiot. I've seen you float around a bunch.
Wait, I gotta back that up. I like how you said that. You must be an idiot. Let's watch that again. Oh.
Like, you really are... Honestly, you must be an idiot. I've seen...
I'm sorry, I don't know why, but that's hilarious to me. That he just stopped and posed for a second, right? Looked right at the camera and said, "You must be an idiot." Well, I do know that they don't have many brain cells when it comes to this stuff. It's because they don't want to think for themselves. They want somebody else to tell them what to think, and I don't understand that. I guess I just don't understand why somebody would want to be led around like a sheep. Why don't you have your own opinions, have your own thoughts? Maybe actually for once go check out what actually Star Wars is actually about. Or in this case, actually watch Star Wars series content without making the blanket statements that you are all because of a hit piece by Rolling Stone. Because if Rolling Stone hadn't wrote that article, this wouldn't have been an issue. I doubt any of them would even know that it's even happened. But because of Twitter, now called X, often being the blue-haired dumpster fire that it is, has once again people on there that are disagreeing with the narrative. They don't really know what they're talking about. They've not taken the time to even notice this stuff. Or even check out Star Wars Theory to see what he's actually saying. I doubt they even watched this response, which is in his Twitter's feed. So it just doesn't make sense. Yeah, like she'd have to force you. Yeah.
I've seen you float around a bunch of times.
Right.
You're an idiot. You really have to be. I've explained it so many times, and if you can't understand the words that come out of my mouth, then that's on you. I can't help you there. That's your own issue. I don't know what happened to you that you can't understand things that I say, but that goes for everyone else too. If I've ever said that women don't belong in Star Wars, please tell me, show me. I would love to see it. But until that day
I've
happens,
never seen him say that.
Shut the fuck up. Seriously. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. You guys hate me so much and you just want to cancel me. Why? Because I'm opinionated? Because I speak my mind? Because I'm honest about how I feel about things? Because
I think what it is because you don't view the same narrative they want to hear. The narrative that they are hearing. Because you're not going along with the woke mainstream. So they don't want anybody that isn't going to spew out the same Kool-Aid that they've been drinking.
An actual fan because I don't like the sequel trilogy. Get over yourselves. There's going to be people who don't like things you like. If you have a problem with that, then that's on you. Seriously. I grew up in a world where people had differing opinions, and then you go and grab a burger, you know? The sequel trilogy, in my opinion, was done really poorly. George didn't like it. Nick Killer doesn't like it. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people do like it. Cool. It has nothing to do with being a misogynist. That just means...
Yeah, 100%. If you like the sequel trilogy, good on you. That's great. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you shouldn't. Just for me, I don't like the sequel trilogy. I sort of like Force Awakens, but then again, I can also leave it because I feel like it's just a retelling of Star Wars A New Hope. Or what I'm used to calling it, just Star Wars. Because that was episode 4. But more power to you. If you're into it and you like it, you think Rey's the greatest ever, great. I felt that way about Luke Skywalker when I was growing up. We like what we like, and we don't always have to agree. There's a phrase that I've always believed in. We can agree disagreeably. What that means is you can have your opinion, I can have my opinion, and at the end of the day, we can still say, okay, doesn't mean that I don't like you or I want to cancel you or that I want you to be gone just because you don't agree with what I'm saying. How boring of a world would it be if everybody had the exact same cookie cutter mold ideas and thoughts and said everything would be plain Jane, blank piece of paper type of thing. I mean, it'd be boring. There would be nothing new to see. Everything would be the same. Everybody would have the same ideas, the same opinions. You wouldn't be seeing a penguin here. You'd be seeing cardboard box. Because everybody would be a cardboard box. I can't think of much more plain than a cardboard box. And I don't want to be a cardboard box. I want to be a crazy penguin. Like slap people with a fish. Anyway.
Some people didn't like the film. That's it. Nia did not respond to Rolling Stone's requests for comments. You guys never requested any comments whatsoever. I mean, unless it's in my email, but there's no request for any comment whatsoever. So that's some. But in a follow-up video acknowledging the backlash, Nia denied that he was misogynist and instead said that he was simply protective of his favorite series. It has nothing to do with being a misogynist or saying women can't enjoy Star Wars, he said in a response video. Leave it to the extreme left to always take something that is so plainly put and explained so easily and twist it and contort it into their own agenda.
Yeah, they take it out of context.
Often misogyny and racism emerge in fan communities because white male fans... Oh, God. I'm done. I'm done reading this shit. This is such... Honestly, it's such... Dude, like, you can't ask anything nowadays. You can't talk about anything. You can't say anything. It's just such... I'm sorry for swearing, but look, this is just dumb. I had a guest on my channel and I asked her, what do you think about this dumbass director saying it's time a woman shaped Star Wars, which is such a up thing to say. If a man were to say it's time a man shaped Star Wars, did anyone have a problem with Patty Jenkins writing Star Wars? Did anybody have a problem with Bryce Dallas Howard? Did anybody have a problem with Ahsoka coming out? No, we have a problem with characters. Okay, so I don't care what the gender is of the...
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with who wrote it. I mean, hello, Bryce Dallas Howard, she's Hollywood royalty. She's the daughter of Ron Howard, a.k.a. Opie, from Andy Griffith's show, or Richie Cunningham from Happy Days. That's her dad. Do I have a problem with her being involved in Star Wars? No. What I have a problem with is the story and claiming it's great and that you have to like it, that you don't have a choice, that it's forced upon you, and if you don't agree with it, you are canceled, that you shouldn't exist, that they want you gone. It just doesn't make sense to me because I don't feel that way about them. What I feel about them is put away your agenda and actually maybe, I don't know, here's a good thought. Maybe write a good story for once and focus on the characters you're writing and the actual where they're going in that story instead of trying to push some stupid agenda from good old Potato Kennedy. But of course they can't do that because who they work for, Disney. And I get that. But at the same time, go someplace else. Write a good story there. There is so much junk out there right now, this woke stuff that I know I'm not the only one fed up with it. That is so much needed for good stories, for true escapism, and what it used to be like before this woke stuff infected everything that's out there. It's everywhere. And I don't know about you, but that just kind of sucks me out of the escapism and brings me right back to reality, which, hello, one of the reasons why I like watching Star Wars and Star Trek and all that other stuff is simply because it's not real life. I can unplug from the problems I'm having in my life and just kind of chill for a little bit, turn my brain off, and enjoy a good story and relax Anyway.
Characters. We have a problem with characters. And this is honestly becoming absolutely ridiculous. You can say whatever you want about me. You can say I'm a misogynist, whatever. I asked her a question in regards to that horrible take from that director, if you can even call her that. And her response is her response. And she said, women don't even like Star Wars. And I scoffed. Am I not allowed to scoff and say, like, wow, that's a hot take? What is the big problem here? I don't understand. People are so blinded by their hatred for me. Because what, I don't like the sequel trilogy? Because I truly like Star Wars the way it was, and I want them to continue along that path?
Well, I'm not going to continue watching the rest of this, but basically, we get it, Theory. It's because we don't have the same narrative or agenda or speaking points or talking points that they do. And because of that, they want us gone. And all I can say is, Theory, keep up what you're doing. I like your lore videos, especially diving into the nitty-gritty of, like, why did Anakin do this, or what happened really if this happened with Luke and Leia, or all this type of stuff. I really like that kind of stuff. Anyway, let's change gears here. I've about had it. I'm going to start, my eyes are going to start bleeding if I keep watching and listening to more of this junk about Disney Star Wars. So let's change things up here and talk about the last thing I was going to talk about. There is come on, here it is. There is a new video game that came out that is actually now #1 on Steam and #1 on Xbox Game Pass. Those are the two places you can actually get it. That has just taken the world by storm. In 5 days from its release, because it just released the other day, I forget which day it released on, it has sold 7 million copies. It's called Palworld. Palworld is touted as, think of it as like Pokemon with guns. Now, I'm not big into Pokemon, never really have been. I understand what Pokemon is. Pokemon is a thing, and it's controlled by Nintendo as well. But this is a small, independent development team over in Japan called Pocket Pair that actually has made another game that I've got out of there. It's called Craftopia. That created this game, and I actually have Palworld. I bought it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be doing a stream on it here pretty soon. I don't know if I'm going to do one tonight or not. Haven't decided. Just depends on what I got going on. Nevertheless, I want to kind of play this and stream it. And supposedly, this number of 7 million being sold actually has been increased. In 6 days, they sold 8 million. And they got like over 2 million people playing this game. And one of the things I like about it is I've already played it a little bit. I've already come across these little penguins, which, you know, I like meeting my fellow brethren. Anyway, so it's right now. This is their website called pocketpair.jp, Palworld. Actually, I own a number of years ago called Craftopia, which is a game I own that I've never really. It is rough to get into. It's not really as refined. And this Pocket Pair released Palworld. It's under early access, so it's still maybe about 50 or 60% done. And they're still going to be adding more and more content to it. Matter of fact, right now, crossplay is not a thing yet between Xbox Game Pass and PC gamers on Steam. So you have to own one or the other to be able to play with other people, because there is multiplayer in it. Of course, I've been playing a single player. And there's some controversy on whether these little pals, that they call them, look like Pokemon or not. It's still a very cool game. I like it. I I can see why people have gone crazy on this thing. It is kind of fun. It's an open world explorer. You got a building and so forth. There's base building, and your pals can help you out building out the base, which is kind of fun. Matter of fact, I got one little pal that's like a cat that's lazy as all get out. All that cat wants to do is do nothing. But anyway, here's some controversy about it, though. And I wanted to, everybody's talking about this game. And I just can't believe how it has taken over the world by gangbusters. I don't know if Nintendo's going to step in and do something, but they did come out and say this. Actually, there's a couple things that they came out and did. A Palworld Pokemon modder tried to put in, and I don't even know this guy's, the character, I think it's Ash. I don't know. Who is a Pokemon character. Nintendo did notice this, and they stopped him and said cease and desist. Nintendo has finally come for Palworld in the form of issuing a takedown for a video of a mod that swapped out Palworld pals for Pokemon. Obviously, they're not going to let you do that because that's copyrighted stuff. Matter of fact, there is a thing I saw on... I'm trying to remember where it's at. Let me see here. There is this article that came out. The Pokemon Company, Nintendo basically, plans to investigate Palworld. The company did not outright name Pocket Pair's latest game in a recent statement, but the message is clear. They're going to basically look into it and see whether or not, this is like Pikachu right here looking at Palworld's sheep that have guns. They're going to look into this and see, I guess, whether or not there is any type of plagiarism or copyright infringement involved. I don't know if there is or not, and I don't even know what's going to happen. I mean, think about it. They just got to selling almost 8 million copies of this game. I don't know if that means they're going to have to refund everybody that owns it, or if the game's going to have to be put on pause and updated to not look. I mean, I think personally, looking at it for face value, I don't think it looks exactly like Pokemon. I can see some semblance, and maybe someone who's never been introduced to Pokemon, they might squint at it really hard enough and look at it and see that, oh, it does kind of look like Pokemon. But it's not. Pokemon doesn't have guns in it, for one. Last I checked, a lot of the Pokemon games aren't open world builders either, to where you have to, like a survival game where you have to go and get food and build a base and things like that. Pocket Pair, though, it did say in this article up on Kotaku, Pocket Pair stated that it jumped through all the appropriate hoops to ensure Palworld wouldn't be subject to a copyright lawsuit, though the game's monsters have been derided for their similarity to specific Pokemon. Some have suggested that, despite the similarities, Palworld would fall under parody law, which protects media that imitates other projects in an exaggerated comedic fashion. So I don't know, if Nintendo, who owns Pokemon, is going to come right out and take it down, or what they're going to do, or what legal action they may even take. I mean, they have issued a DCMA against the mod. That's what I was just reading right here about this modder here that did this. This is clearly a violation. You can see that. That's against the copyright. That I get. But when it says right here, the Pocket Pair, I'm thinking maybe they even, at least what I'm hoping they would have done, they had like even reached out to Nintendo, because this game has been in development for like 2 or 3 years. It's not new. They've been working on it, and they just recently released it in early access. just like earlier this week. And I would think in that whole process that they would have done their due diligence and determined whether or not this game is going to violate any type of copyright. Maybe even, hopefully, if they were wise, they would have reached out to Nintendo, who is also a Japanese company. I wouldn't see why they wouldn't. It would make sense to me. You might as well check back with the source and say, hey, can we come to some type of agreement here? Or can you say yay or nay before we release this? Whether or not it's actually going to violate what you already have is considered Pokemon. I don't know. Well, the Pokemon Company has finally publicly acknowledged Palworld. The war between both games' online communities has been in a frenzy since the survival game launched back on January 19th. Okay, so it came out on January 19th. Nintendo has already issued, like I said, the DSMA strike, DSMA against the mod. Fans have compared each game character models, sparking accusations of plagiarism. Like right here, there's wolves in this. Matter of fact, I ride around on a wolf that I've got. It's a lot of fun. The game is really a ton of fun. Of course, I like anything you got to go around and gather up assets and build and survive. Those are my jam anyway. The mere fact that it has pals in it just adds a different level to it. It's kind of cool. Like I said, I have been playing it a little bit. I am going to stream this eventually. But I'm just kind of curious what's going to be a fallout here with this. Who knows if Nintendo's going to take legal action or not? Or who knows, they may come into some legal agreement with Pocket Pair about this, and maybe say, okay, if you remove these assets or change the assets to look like this, or whatever, who knows? Nevertheless, I just thought I'd share this about Palworld. This game has taken the world by storm. It's absolutely fun. It's seriously a lot of fun. It really is. It's the Pokemon game you never knew you needed. Of course, I've never really played Pokemon games, so I like it because of the comic style, cheeky little gameplay that's survival and so forth. And it is early access. So who knows how this game is going to change over time. They did release, I think, let me see if it's here. Oh, that's all in Japanese. Oops. I want to say they did release a roadmap. Let me see if I can look for that. Notice I put like P in there, A, and the first thing that comes, PA and the RA is coming up Palworld. Palworld roadmap. Here's from Kotaku again. Palworld's roadmap indicates some big new features are coming. So, I mean, they're already adjusting. There's already been a couple of updates. And that's the way it is with early access games anyway. They're going to introduce a PvP type thing, which I'm not a big opponent of PvP. I don't really care for it. I'm terrible at it. But doing like new islands and pals and bosses and technologies, those would be kind of cool. And here is a picture of like the early access roadmap. They're, of course, addressing critical issues. And some of this may even change if Nintendo gets involved, obviously. Server transfers and migrations. Steambox crossplay eventually. They'll probably even, if I guess, at some point they'll eventually put it on other platforms like PlayStation, maybe even Nintendo Switch. I can see this game being on Nintendo Switch easily. It just has that feel to it. Anyway. I just thought I'd share all that, and I think it's kind of cool with all the amount of people that have bought this game. I mean, it's just massive. It is a fun to play, and I definitely would be interested in your thoughts. So if you have any thoughts, leave some comments down there below this video. And that's basically all I've got for today. So I am going to go grab me something to eat, probably, because I'm a little bit hungry. Maybe some fish. I don't know what I'm going to have yet. Nevertheless, I am the crazy little geeky penguin that likes pals in Palworld, and I'm going to go shoot up some cancel pigs in Palworld, because there are pigs in the game. Anyway, I'm going to shoot them up in the game with a fish gun. If I can find a fish gun. That'd be kind of cool if they had a fish gun. Nevertheless, as always, I'm the crazy little geeky penguin named Whataboutbob, and I'm out the window because the door's shut. And I'll catch you guys later in the next one. Later, peeps!